All right, hi everybody. I hope we're all doing okay. So glad to have you join us while on this lovely Wednesday. I don't know about you guys where you are at, but it is snowing and raining here, so that's cool. I'm gonna give everybody just a little bit longer to hop on with us. What you see on your screen currently, or at least you should see it, is my lovely little block of information. So if you have any questions that we are not able to get to today in our lovely hour that we have you here, is to contact me via any of those. That would be awesome. I'm more than happy to answer questions via email or phone. I'm looking forward to hearing from all of you. Awesome. So without further ado, let's get started. So basically, welcome to our lovely Western Wednesday that we have going on here today. I don't know, maybe for some of you, this may be your first Western Wednesday, and if so, welcome. And if not, welcome back. These are a great resource for incoming students, admitted students, anyone who's interested in Western. These are a great resource for you to utilize. So I'm glad that you're here. Basically, what we're gonna do today. So I'm gonna introduce myself a little bit, and then we're gonna basically cover a lot of different things. So I know up until this point, you've probably heard a lot of things about Western, or maybe this is the first time you're hearing about Western. But what I'm going to focus on during this presentation is going to be a lot of a behind the scenes look at what it actually is to be a student, specifically a fine arts student here at Western. So we're going to talk about where do they eat, what do they like to eat, where do they live, what do they do inside class, outside of class, and then of course at the very end we're going to have our lovely Q&A session. So that's kind of the game plan. And again, if you have any questions at any point in time, feel free to throw them in the Q&A portion or the chat, either or. I'll get to them either way. So here we go. So let me introduce myself. My name is Blake Kuzma, and I am the recruiter for the College of Fine Arts at Western Michigan University. And I am a little bit more than that, if I'm going to be completely honest. So I am an alumni as well. So I decided to go to Western in fall of 2015, and I have been here ever since. I graduated in December of 2018. Took me a second there. But yeah, I graduated December 2018 with a degree in public relations and a double minor in event management and journalism. And so some of the pictures you see here are from my time as a student. So I took every job basically that admissions let me have. I was a student ambassador, which is the tour guides on campus. I was an orientation student leader. I was a fall welcome leader. I did everything. And through the course of that, I learned a ton about the university. And so if you have any questions, not just about fine arts student life, but about my experience, about any of the things that I did while I was a student, please feel free to ask. Like I said, I graduated in 2018, which makes me the ripe old age of 22. And so this wasn't that long ago for me. Not much has changed since I've graduated, so feel free to ask me any of those questions. So that's me. Now, what I want to focus on. So up to this point, especially if you're an admitted student, you've seen a lot of these photos where everything's perfect and you've heard all of the statistics and the numbers and everything is great, but you probably haven't seen a whole lot of this. So these are all pictures of our students hard at work doing what they love. And this is really what I want to focus on. Of course, the statistics and the numbers are super important, but what do you actually do here? That's what I want to focus on with you guys today. So first and foremost, I want to start with where do they live? Some of you may be looking at signing up for housing here pretty soon. So this may be something that's heavily weighing on your mind. So for our fine arts students, some of them opt to live in Western Heights. So Western Heights is going to be the newest residence hall on campus. And they are specifically for first-year students. So some of our first-year fine arts students end up there. That is the only residence hall with air conditioning also, by the way. So if that's your jam, then you may want to head over there. It's important to note that Western does have two styles of housing. They have community and suite style. Community is what a lot of people think of their traditional college experience, where you have your room and then there's a community bathroom down the hall that staff of the building cleans, which is really awesome. And you don't have to clean it. So that's kind of like the traditional for college experience, what a lot of people think of. That's community style. Suite style is going to be where you have a room connected by a bathroom to another room. And that's suite style. So there are pros and cons to both, and I'm going to show you both versions, but Western Heights particularly is community style. So the other one that a lot of students like is the Ernest Burnhams building. So that is going to be where the learning community is for our fine arts students. So what's a learning community? A learning community is basically going to be either a floor or multiple floors in a residence hall where all of the people that live on those floors are going to be a part of the same college or a part of the same major. So for example, the fine arts one has all 4 departments of fine arts students represented. So if you're an art student, dance student, music student, or theater student, you can choose to live there. And basically what it creates is this lovely little community that is all students who are in the College of Fine Arts. So a lot of people find it very nice to live in the learning community because no one understands better what it's like to be a fine arts student. No one understands what it's like to be a fine arts student better than other art students. Say that 5 times fast. But yeah, it's really nice because you have people who are going through similar experiences with you, people who are like-minded oftentimes. So that's really nice to kind of live in a community where you get to be around those people all the time. It also comes with a learning community assistant who's basically like a live-in tutor. They are required to have office hours to help you with homework and things like that. They are typically an upperclassman, so they have probably taken a lot of the courses that you have had to take, which is really super awesome. So I highly recommend the learning community for our fine arts students. Oftentimes there is an increase in GPA for our students who live in the learning community, which is super cool. So there's that one. That's also community style. And then we have the Valleys, which is the only place where suite style is available. So if you're not about that whole community style bathroom thing, then you may opt for the Valleys. The Valleys is about where 75% of all first-year students end up. So there's definitely a strong first-year presence there, which can be really helpful your first year because everybody's kind of in the same boat. I lived in the Valleys my first year, so I'm kind of biased. But those are going to be probably the top 3 buildings that our students end up on campus. Now, where they eat, equally important. So we have 2 different places that you can choose, or 2 different types of places that you can choose to eat at on campus. We have cafes and we have dining halls. So the biggest one that a lot of our students are going to experience most of the time is this lovely the Plaza Cafe. So the building that you see is Sprout Tower, and Sprout Tower happens to be located in the Miller Plaza, which is where all of the fine arts buildings are located. So it is the closest dining run facility to all of our classrooms. So a lot of students go to the Plaza Cafe to grab a slice of pizza, a sandwich, some sushi, whatever it happens to be that day, really quick between classes so they can hurry up and go to their next lesson. It's kind of become an ongoing joke that most of our fine arts students exist off of the Plaza Cafe's food because it's right there and it's so convenient and they just don't have time to walk to a dining hall, so they'll just run in and grab something from the cafe. So definitely a very popular spot for our students. Another big one is the Burnhams Dining Center. So that's going to be located in the Burnhams, where our fine arts community for housing is located as well. They are home to a really great salad bar. Now hear me out, I know that sounds super lame, but they're home to Extreme Greens, which is like your average salad bar amped up to like 5,000. They have an insane amount of toppings that you can choose stuff you wouldn't even think to put on a salad is there. And they'll mix it all up in a bowl for you with your dressing that you want. It's really, really cool. Highly recommend it. But yeah, a really great feature for the Burnhams Dining. And again, located right next door to our fine arts learning community, which is a huge perk. And then lastly, we have Bigelow. Bigelow is definitely going to be the most central dining hall on the entire campus, so it's the one that's closest to the middle. So if you live in Western Heights, you'll probably eat at Bigelow a lot because it's right next door. Bigelow is also the dining hall that's open the latest, so kind of handy to be right next to that as well, especially if you're a fine arts student. You're going to have some late night rehearsals. The Plaza Cafe might not be open, but Bigelow very well might be. So there's that to consider. Now, what do they do? So I could spend probably 30 million years going over what our students do in their classes. So I've decided to limit myself and talk about the highlights for each of our students' experiences. So I'm going to start with our lovely art students. So first and foremost, highlights of an art student's experience. Number one is going to be their studio space. For our art students, they are going to need a space where they can create their art, and that space is going to be very important to them. A lot of art schools make you pay through the nose for that space because they know that you can't have really anywhere else to put it. Maybe you try and bring it home to your residence hall, but then your roommate gets mad that you get paint all over and it's a big mess. But we don't make you pay any extra for our studio spaces, and we don't limit your access to them really. You get access to them your sophomore year and sometimes earlier, depending on how many seniors we graduate. So that's a really big deal to a lot of our students. It becomes their home away from home. They literally move into their studio space. They bring in futons and mini fridges, all sorts of fun things. But yeah, their studio space is definitely a big perk. Number two, exhibiting their work. So it's really amazing that our students basically create an entire room full of art by the time that they graduate. So our junior and seniors often put on their own exhibits. And so that is a huge deal because we have a gallery that is specific for that purpose. So not only do our students get to exhibit their own work, but they also have a huge hand in deciding what that show is going to look like. Where are things going to be hung on the walls? Are things going to be hung from the ceiling? Is there going to be anything on the floor? What do we need to do to prep this space so that you can exhibit your work the way that you want it to look, which is a big, big deal. So that's definitely another big highlight of our art students experience. And then finally, internships and real life experience. I cannot tell you how many times the community and our art students have interacted in various different ways in order to create something magical. So that sometimes looks like our giant print media event. It's called Under Pressure, where we rent a steamroller and we have the community come out and bring create a whole bunch of different relief prints, and we run them all over with a steamroller. Or sometimes it's as formal as, hey, the Kalamazoo Nature Center needs to have you redesign a logo. We need a new brand. And that has happened as well before. So they do a ton of different things for the community and for different people. They work independently and as a team. So there's a lot of their curriculum that is focused on bringing that real life experience, which is really, really neat and something that's definitely very valuable to them. Moving on. The highlights of a dance student's experience. So number one thing I always hear about is the Orchesis Dance Society. So the Orchesis Dance Society is basically like a dance company that is run entirely by students, and you get automatically inducted into it when you are a part of the dance program. And so basically they have a showcase every year, and that thing is entirely run by students. So they do all of the choreography, the casting, the performing, the costumes, the lighting, the sound, literally everything is done by students. And they are very proud of that showcase, and it always ends up really amazing, which kind of ties into my second bit for dance students. Performance opportunities. There are a ton. They do over 30 performances in an academic school year, which is about 8 months, which is crazy. They have so many things going on. Sometimes it's being done by students, sometimes it's by faculty, and then of course, number 3, sometimes it's done by our visiting artists. So we do a ton of different collaborations with guest artists who sometimes come in and stay for a week, or maybe they just teach a class, but you get pretty close group interaction with these people who are in the field that maybe you want to be in, and doing the things that you want to do, which is a really big deal to our students. To get that feedback and to get those different things is really, really important. All right, next, highlight of a music student's experience. So the number one thing that I hear from them is going to be the one-on-one instruction that you receive. So it's definitely super, super important for your students who are in music to interact with our faculty, because not only are you auditioning for them, they are auditioning for you as well. Because over the years, you're going to work really, really closely with these faculty. And so it's just as important that you like them as it is that they like you. So definitely get in contact with your faculty, because you're going to be really, really close with them. Number 2, choirs and ensembles. So again, these are going to be things that sometimes are student-led, sometimes are faculty-led, but again, a unique experience that allows them to go out into the community. Maybe you play as an ensemble at a local community, say a restaurant or a bar, and or maybe you go Christmas caroling through the different offices, and do that for the holidays. And then of course, finally, the concerts and recitals. So very similar to a showcase or a recital, that's going to be, kind of the crowning achievement, the crowning glory of a music student, because, maybe you get to have that full pit orchestra and sing your aria. How many times can you say that you get to do that in a lifetime? Which is really, really fantastic. And we actually record all of our concerts and recitals. So if you want to distribute that, that's something you can do, and something we're very proud of to do for our students. Next, we have the highlights of our theater students experience. So the biggest thing there is going to be the small class sizes. So they are our smallest department of the College of Fine Arts, and you definitely can see that in the type of bond that they share, not only with the faculty, but their peers as well. They're a very tight-knit group. They all know each other, and they all work with each other at some point, which is really cool to see. And then performance opportunities. They do 9 shows in 8 months, which is crazy. So they are never not busy. They're always working on something. Usually it's 2 musicals and 7 plays, and that's a ton of work. So yeah, they are kept very, very busy. And then I guess, again, very similar to dance, working directly with visiting artists. Theater especially is very good about keeping track of their alumni. And so they will invite their alumni back to do master classes. Maybe do you want to direct a show for this season? And so again, very close interaction with those people who are in the fields doing what you want to do, which is really, really cool. So in summary, you spend a ton of time in our spaces. So I know it's super difficult to do this right now, but if you have not been inside our facilities, I highly recommend that you do eventually come and tour through them, because they are incredible, and it's important for you to see the space that you're going to be creating in. If you're interested in art or theater, if you go to our YouTube page, we do have virtual tours of those spaces up. Highly recommend checking those out. Music and dance, those are coming soon, so keep an eye on the YouTube page and they will be there, but definitely check those out because those are important. 2, you have a lot of close personal relationships that are built, not only with your peers, but with your faculty as well. You're a family. You spend a lot of time together in those practice rooms, in those classrooms. It's a lot of time. So you definitely, you you get a lot of memories and a lot of relationships out of that time. And then finally, through those relationships and those faculty and those peers, they're focused on developing you as an artist and as a professional. Both are equally important. You know, what does it matter if you're a phenomenal artist if you can't market yourself in the end? So we put equal emphasis on you being just as good of an artist as we do you being a good professional. So definitely kind of a nice little summary of what you do. So great, that's awesome, right? Academics, that's what you're here for. But what do they do outside of us? Because they do have a life outside of the College of Fine Arts. And so I wanted to share some of the things that our students are often a part of, because I feel like that's important too. So first and foremost, the Bronco Marching Band. We have a band that is 300 students strong. And so it is audition based. You do have to audition for the Bronco Marching Band, but it's a phenomenal group. It does not matter what your major is. You can be even outside of the College of Fine Arts if you want to, and audition for the Bronco Marching Band. And they are probably some of the peppiest students that I know. So if the high school band was your thing, you definitely want to check this out. Highly recommend. Another one, Greek life. So don't freak out. I know some of you probably like instinctively like flinched or cringed, but Greek life at Western is super expansive, and you have a ton of different options when it comes to Greek life. So of course there's a traditional Greek life that has, you know, their houses, and you rush to maybe your first year or your second year, and there's bidding involved, and that's a super fun process. But there's also more academic ones. So the Honors College has, I believe it's a fraternity that anyone can join if you're in the Honors College, which is a really great place to develop, you know, network, you know, different development things that you can do professionally there. And then of course there are also sororities and fraternities that are music-based, which is really neat. So some of them have like that one overarching theme that unites them all into this sorority or fraternity, and others have been around for, you know, who knows, centuries long. But yeah, Greek life is a great way to kind of create a family inside and outside of the College of Fine Arts, which is really cool to see. And then another one, speaking of the Honors College. So we have actually some of the smartest students on campus. A lot of our students are either in the Honors College or they are qualified to be a part of the Honors College and are choosing not to. But these students often, you know, you have to take honors courses together. You do things like volunteer hours. Thesis is another big part of the Honors College. They also have a specific programming that's available to honor students, things like Study in the States, where it's kind of like a mini study abroad. That's exclusive to the Honors College. You also get priority registration, which is pretty nice. I was an honors student as well, so again, if you have any questions about the honors program, feel free to ask. But yeah, that's the Honors College. And then registered student organizations, so, or RSO for short. These are kind of like clubs or little organizations that can be pretty much about anything. We have over 400 at Western, and so they can be anything from like an a cappella group to a squirrel watching club to, you know, a D&D group to, you know, Rocket League, whatever it is, anything in between. And if you cannot find something that you are interested in the over 400 RSOs that we have, you can create your own. And a lot of our students are either in RSOs, presidents of RSOs, have created RSOs. So definitely something that takes up a good chunk of their time as well. And a lot of fun. It's like the sprinkle on top of your college experience. It's just some, like, the things you do for fun. Anyway. Travel globally and across the United States. So not only can you do this within your program, so like the art school has a study abroad trip that goes to Italy and sometimes across different parts of Europe. There is one that the theater students do that they go to the UK to study theater, but you can also go to our study abroad kind of office, and they can help you figure out how study abroad fits into your schedule as a fine arts student, which is really helpful. I also did study abroad, so if you have any questions about that, feel free to ask. And then of course, if you're a part of the honors program, you can actually choose to opt into study in the States, which is going to be probably a decent amount cheaper than study abroad. But our dance program also does things like SIP trips, which is basically very similar to studying in the States. They'll take a group of dance students and they'll go to New York, they'll go to Chicago and take a bunch of master classes, you know, visit a bunch of really famous dance studios, things like that. So we definitely do travel. That's definitely a thing that we do. And then of course, we work. Of course our students work. The average Western student actually usually works 2 jobs. So a lot of our students find employment on campus. So some of them work for dining, some of them work in the libraries, some of them are working as the front desk person in offices, or, you know, in their actual departments. So you can work in instrument control. You can work as a gallery assistant in the art school. So there's a ton of different opportunities for you to work on campus. The jobs specifically on campus are super flexible with students because they know that your classes come first. That's obviously really important. But yeah, super handy because, like I said, a lot of our students definitely work a full schedule. So that's usually what they're up to as well. Now, this lovely little thing, I'm not going to play it for you because I want to save a decent chunk of time for the Q&A session, because I'm sure you guys have lots of questions. And if not, you know, we'll just play a fun little, I'll just keep talking, which I'm pretty good at. But these videos are called A Day in the Life, and they're a series of 4. These can be found on our YouTube page, which is WMU College of Fine Arts. These videos basically take you through a day in the life of one of our students. So there's one for each department: art, dance, music, and theater. And you see them from the minute that they wake up in the morning to the minute that they go to the bed at night, all the classes that they go to. Some of them have jobs. A lot of them have classes. So it's just a really cool way to kind of summarize everything that I've talked with you about, and you can see how right I am. But they're really neat videos, and I highly recommend that you look at them because they are super fun and helpful. So there's that. Now we're gonna do our open Q&A. Like I said, you can use the chat function or you can use the Q&A. I have them both pulled up. So let me see here. This one I had since the beginning. So what gen ed classes are required for fine arts majors? That is entirely up to you. So we have areas for gen eds for everybody, and those areas are similar across the board. They essentially have a lot of wiggle room as to what you choose to fill those gen ed classes. So like, for example, one of the areas that I had to fill for a gen ed was a science course. I'm not really a science gal, not really my cup of tea, but I was able to find a graphic printing sciences course, which is exactly what it sounds like. I got to make t-shirts and notepads, and that counted as my science credit because you learn a lot about how, you know, typing and printing works, which does involve quite a bit of science. So there's a lot of wiggle room that you can have with the gen eds, and your advisor will help you figure that out. And so you're not just like hating every minute of your gen ed courses. Honors is really helpful with this. Sometimes you can have your honors courses double count for a gen ed credit. I literally took a class about what makes people laugh. Literally, that was a course that I took. So yeah, lots of different options for gen eds. Let's see, let's pick another one. How do I get a job working on campus, and how well do they tend to pay? So everyone pays minimum wage. Obviously, that's required. And the way to do that, a lot of them, I recommend going on Handshake, which is what we use for Bronco jobs. And so all of our different departments on campus use that to post their jobs. That's how I found mine as a student ambassador. And some of them pay a little bit more. So I know for a fact that the Office of Admissions does tend to pay a little bit more because you are working, you work a lot, you work kind of odd hours, but it depends on the department what they pay, but all of them pay minimum wage. And I highly recommend looking into Bronco Jobs, run through Handshake, super, super easy to use, highly recommend. Handshake also helps you figure out if there's not any jobs on campus that you like, it'll also help you find jobs off campus, but while still recognizing that you're a student. So that's really helpful too. Another one, got an email once I registered for orientation in June, and in the confirmation email I received, it said that there would be a $60 fee. However, the next line says that the fee is charged with fall tuition and doesn't need to be paid in advance. I have the Kalamazoo Promise. I was wondering if my fee will be paid with the promise, since the email said the fee is being billed with fall tuition. Will the promise cover the fee, or will I have to come out of pocket for it? That is a great question. Love our Kalamazoo Promise students. That I don't know per se. That's probably more of an admissions question. I don't know personally, but a good one to reach out to. Definitely if you have a person from admissions, or maybe even contact someone from the Promise and ask them that, probably a good person to go to for that. All right, what's another one? What are the chances there will be remote learning in the fall? I wish I knew. As of right now, things are changing so fast, and I personally have no idea. That decision will be made as it comes to kind of keep updated on that. We do have a website specifically devoted to our COVID-19 response. So if you keep an eye on that, there will be updates posted. You know, if there is a decision made about moving online for the fall, that is the first place that it will be. So keep an eye on that. I will be watching it just as closely as you are. So yeah, I'm just as clueless as you. All right, if a student wanted to defer a year, what would their scholarship defer as well? Depends on the scholarship. Again, if you're getting a scholarship from admissions, you should ask them. And it depends is the short answer. But as far as scholarships from fine arts, it's tricky. I think it would be why you are deferring would be the big thing that we would have to discuss for fine arts, whether or not we would honor that scholarship for next year. That was a really good question, Daniel. I'll have to double check on that myself. But yeah, thanks. If you don't live in Burnhams, for example, but you have a dining plan, can you still eat at the dining hall there? And is there a dining plan that includes the cafes and snack places? Great question, Jennifer. So yes, if you don't live in the Burnhams, you can still eat there. Totally fine. You can eat at any of the dining halls on campus. And your dining plan actually comes with something called dining dollars, which you can use in the cafes. And so it works kind of like a credit card. So essentially all of your dining dollars are put onto your student ID. So instead of carrying around cash or credit card, you can give them your student ID and they'll swipe it and then you're good to go. I can't tell you how many times I utilized that as a student. I actually had to put more dining dollars on because I would use up the ones that were a part of my plan. But I was using them so often that I had to put more on, which is also another fun option that you can do. So yes, you can eat at any of the dining halls as well as the cafes. Good question, Jennifer. So when is it time to register for classes? Will we do that over the phone with an advisor, or how will that work since we won't be able to register on campus? So for our first year students, you're going to sign up for your first semester of classes during orientation. And for orientation this year, you're going to do a one-on-one meeting with your advisor who will walk you through exactly how to do that, which is really amazing because especially for first year students, that process is kind of confusing at first. So yeah, your advisor will be able to help you figure out, okay, here's what we're going to take for the first semester, and come next semester we'll kind of figure it out. But yeah, always check in with your advisor. If you don't know who that is yet, feel free to email me, or look it up for yourself. We only have 4 advisors. 4? No, 3. We have 3 advisors, so it's not too difficult to figure out. But yeah, if you need help figuring out who your advisor is or signing up for orientation, feel free to contact me and I'll help you do that. Are deadline dates for housing and admission being extended? And if yes, what are they at this point? I'm not sure is the short answer. That's a great question for admissions or housing. Yeah, that's, as far as I know, housing is still running as scheduled. Admissions, yeah, I'm not sure. College of Fine Arts is still running as expected. How is the orchestra in Western compared to a high school environment? Are the expectations much higher / time commitment much greater? So obviously, it depends on your high school orchestra, first of all. I don't know how intense you guys are there, but our ensembles and our orchestras and our bands do expect a certain quality, so you may have had a band director who was super chill, not to say that ours are high strung, but they do expect a certain amount from you, and they will, if they realize that you're slacking or if they know that you're capable of better, they're going to call you out on it, and they're going to be like, what's the deal? Why aren't you practicing more? I've heard you hit this note before. Why is this an issue now? And that also comes from that one-on-one instruction. They're gonna know full well what you're capable of, and they want you to reach your highest potential. So they definitely, I wouldn't say that it depends on your orchestra. But yeah, I would say that they expect a lot from you because they know what you're capable of. As far as time commitment, I would say it's only a little bit more than high school. You are expected to practice on your own. And I think that's the biggest thing that people forget. Maybe you didn't really do a whole lot of practicing on your own in high school, but now if you don't, that will show quite a bit if you come into an orchestra practice and everyone else has. So there's that. What is the minimum SAT score required? So we actually got rid of our test scores. So as of right now, you do not need one to apply to Western or to Fine Arts. So yeah, got rid of them for this year and for next year because the testing centers obviously haven't been open. So yeah, you don't need one currently. So yeah, there's that. Has the May 1st deadline for accepting my admission to the School of Music changed? So May 1st is not a hard deadline. It's more of a suggestion. We would prefer you to make the decision by May 1st, and we definitely understand if you did want to wait a little longer. The reason we say May 1st is because we have students on the wait list who are waiting to see if they'll have a spot with us. So that's typically why we ask you to make the decision by May 1st, so we know how many people we can accept off of our wait list. But yes, we do suggest that you make that decision as soon as you know. It just makes our lives a little bit easier. And if you do have like some big concerns about why it is that you are waiting, feel free to contact us, whether it's scholarship money, whether it's some other concerns. Please feel free to reach out to us so we can help you make that decision easier. That would be, definitely feel free to do that. If I'm on the waiting list for the School of Music, speaking of which, what is the likelihood that I will get in by the fall? And if I don't, what steps do I take next? So yeah, the waiting list, like I said, is going to be a large part of that May 1st. So we're asking students to make their decision by May 1st, so we can notify our students on the wait list what it is, whether or not they have a spot, or if they're going to have to wait until next year. If you do get in on the wait, if you do get in from the wait list, that's awesome. Things as normal, you know, you sign up for orientation as a normal music student, everything's fine, all good. If May 1st comes and goes and you are still on the wait list, what you're gonna do is you're gonna come in as an exploratory student. So essentially you are going to go to your advisor and say, hey, you know, I'm on the wait list for the School of Music. What are some classes like Gen Eds that I can take so that I don't end up wasting any time or money while I'm here, to kind of make sure that everything's lined up next year to audition again and, you know, go from there. And they'll help you do that. If your goal is to go to the School of Music, audition again in the fall, they will make sure that you take as many Gen Eds as possible so that you don't have to waste any time or money. You can also still take the beginning courses for any of our music courses. So like you can take the beginning classes that you would have had to take anyway as a first year student, even as exploratory. So you don't worry is the short answer. You know, just make sure that you audition again in the fall, and hopefully it goes better that time. So yeah, don't panic is the short answer. How doable is the Disney College program for fine arts students? My heart. So I don't know much about the Disney College program. That's definitely maybe a question that you want to ask one of our students. So if you contact me, I will help you get in contact with a person who has done the Disney College program or maybe has considered doing it. I can tell you why they decided to do it or why they didn't. But yeah, I don't personally know much about it, but I definitely can get you in contact with someone who does. So yeah, there's that. If I was admitted to the MAP program and wanted to defer, would my admission to this program also defer, or would I have to audition again? I'm almost positive that you would need to audition again, because it's good for them to see you again, because, you know, a year would have gone by, and, you know, they probably don't remember you as well. So for you to show up in auditions again is always a good thing. For them to see you is always a good thing. So yeah, I'm almost positive you would need to audition again. For an artist, how many art pieces do you need in your portfolio? So you're gonna need 8 to 10 pieces of original artwork, 1 letter of recommendation, and a 500-word artist statement, basically explaining why you wanna go to art school. Of those 8 to 10 pieces, we ask that 2 of them are still life drawings, which kind of helps us make sure that you got the basics. And you do that through a slide room, which is a platform that a lot of different colleges use for art school. But yeah, you can find the application on our website. But yeah, 8 to 10 pieces. If you don't make the audition for your chosen major, are practice rooms and resources still available for you? Yeah, so if you're interested in our School of Music, you went through the audition, didn't make it, you can actually still have a practice room. We do have non-major practice rooms available. You just have to stop into the music office to grab a key. There is a fee for renting out that key, but I don't think it's over $20, and you get it for like the semester. But yeah, there's still resources available for you. Like I said, you can take all of the beginning classes in any of our areas, whether that's art, dance, music, or theater. So you can take a basic class in whatever it is that you're interested in, even if you aren't in the major. So there's that. Is there any possibilities for any dorms aside from the Britton Hadley dorms that would stay open winter break? Or is there any way to move into those buildings just over that time? I'm an out-of-state student and was looking at staying in the Burnhams since I'm an honor student and was hoping there was a way I could stay on campus still over the break with the current plan. Thank you. Sorry for the long question. It's okay. So yeah, for housing, I'm guessing that you mean, yeah, winter break. So all of our housing over winter break, I'm pretty sure they don't really make you move out. You basically just have to notify your residence hall that you are going to be staying, and they'll basically help you out. But the sooner that they know that, the better. But definitely double check with housing on that because it's been a minute since I was in the residence hall. But yeah, I'm pretty sure that's not a problem. Yeah. Yeah, because we do have residence halls and we do have students who have to stay over winter break. So yeah, that's very possible. Don't worry about it. I haven't seen a financial package offer. When should I expect to receive that? So great question, Mitchell. For those of you who have not seen your financial aid package, it is in your WMU email. So if you have not logged into your WMU email, then you probably want to do that. So basically, it's going to need your BroncoNet ID and your password. If you've forgotten either of those, there are steps to figure out how to get those back. But you start by going to GoWMU, and it'll kind of start you off that way. So yeah, a lot of things are in your Western email. So if you haven't been checking that, please make sure that you are, because there's a lot of little golden nuggets that get sent there and don't end up being found for a while until someone figures out, hey, I should probably look at this. So yeah, definitely look in your WMU email for your financial aid package. Great question. Could I repeat the best place to find virtual tours of available housing for an incoming freshman fine art students? So that is going to be probably on Housing's website. As far as housing tours, they have lovely little dioramas as well. But yeah, WMU housing or WMU residence life, you can literally just type that into Google and it should pop up. But yeah, they have some cool stuff there. When and how do I audition for the marching band? So you can basically get in contact with our music advisor, Ariel, or the band director. Dr. Trey Harris is the head of our Bronco marching band, and they will be able to help you figure out when you need to audition for that. Highly recommend it. It's a lot of fun. They're our first students that are back on campus, which is always super nice to see them. Where should transfer fine arts students live? A great question, Maya. That is entirely up to you. I will recommend the fine arts learning community until the day that I breathe my last breath, even if you are a transfer student, because it's such a great community to live as a part of with a bunch of other people who are, fine arts students. So I will recommend that until the day that I die. But there's also transfer housing available. So if you maybe don't want to live in the fine arts community, but want to live with with other students who have similar life experiences, you can live in the transfer community. I do not remember off the top of my head where that is. But again, if you type in WMU residence life, you should be able to kind of explore and figure out where that certain community is. I really wish I swear I knew it once, but I don't remember anymore. But yeah, good question, Maya. How exactly are classes assigned to first year students? I'm sure I can't just pick and choose whatever class I want. Are there any required classes I have to take before I can get some classes that I really want? So actually, that is a misconception. You are allowed to pick whatever classes you want to pick. The advisor is there to make sure that you don't pick anything that is useless to you. So, but it's very, very open, for example, my first semester when I signed up for courses, I was super lost. I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. I have no idea what I'm doing. They were like, well, let's look at some of your courses that have prerequisites for your major, because you have to take those before you can take your major classes. I was like, awesome, let's do that. They're like, do you want to take some gen eds while we're at that? Kind of ease into college, kind of figure out how you're doing in your different areas. And I was like, sure. And they're like, how about we do rock climbing? And I was like, great, sounds awesome. So yeah, I did rock climbing my first year as a gen ed requirement. And I totally picked that on my own. Totally, but your advisor basically is just to make sure that you don't take the same area of gen eds twice. So if I tried to take rock climbing and walking, she would have been like, hey, you already have that gen ed requirement. Why don't we look at something else to fill that time for? But as a first year student, you really, the options are unlimited. You don't really have anything, you haven't done anything yet unless you're coming in as a transfer, or you are maybe have some AP credits or dual enrollment maybe that you have already. But your advisor will help you go over that and really help guide you. Here are the things you have to do first. Why don't we throw some gen eds in there to kind of help you figure out life in general and just kind of get those out of the way, so that by your sophomore year, you can really start to focus on your major courses. Maybe talk about a minor. Some students coming in know that they want a minor in something, which is crazy. I did not have my life that together when I came in as a first year student. But yeah, I highly recommend, getting to know your advisor. And then our advisors are phenomenal at the Fine Arts College. They are really great people. So I highly recommend reaching out to them. If you're nervous, and if you do have dual enrollment or transfer questions, definitely feel free to reach out to them and they'll talk it over with you. But you'll see them during orientation either way. So there's that. Also, I want a major in creative writing. Would that still be considered a fine art? A great question, Daryl. I'm so glad you brought it up. So, yeah, so creative writing is actually considered a part of the College of Arts and Sciences. You can double major in something in the fine arts and College of Arts and Sciences. Totally possible, totally a thing. But a lot of people do get them confused. I get that a lot. I don't know why creative writing isn't a part of the College of Fine Arts. Don't know. But it isn't, and it's super easy. The recruiter for the College of Arts and Sciences is Gabriella Salawanchik, and I apologize, Gabriella, if I totally butchered your last name. But she's a lovely lady, and she can definitely talk to you more about creative writing and how that pairs with our fine arts majors. People definitely do minors in creative writing and double majors in creative writing. I know a lot of artists, especially, who double major in creative writing because they're into illustration, things like that. So yeah, she's the one to talk to you for that stuff. But yeah, this is, again, my contact info page. If you guys need to email me or call me, I literally sit around and wait for you all to talk to me. So definitely feel free to do that. All right, another one. Will there be any more meets like this? And thanks for all your help today. Oh, no, thanks. Yeah, no problem, Daryl. So actually every day from Monday through Friday, you can sign up for a virtual session with yours truly from 11 to noon, I believe is the time frame, and it's called an academic session. They come right after the virtual admission sessions, so you can go to that one first and then pop over to me. And those sessions are super one-on-one, and they're totally free. You could just sign up for them. So if you literally wanted to do one tomorrow, you could. So yeah, definitely, if you are interested in having more one-on-one chats like this, definitely feel free to sign up for those. They're so much fun. I love meeting all you guys virtually that way. I'm an extrovert, don't know if you can tell, but I definitely enjoy meeting people. So I would love it if you guys would come and talk to me during those 11 to noon sessions. You can sign up for those, I believe, on the admissions page under like Explore Campus or Tour Campus, something like that. But yeah, definitely feel free to sign up for those because they're awesome. How would you go about choosing a minor? Like, are you able to declare a minor, or do you just sign up for the classes required for it? So you do have to declare a minor. Great question. But it's super easy, and it's as simple as going to the department that your minor is in. So like, I obviously did a double minor. My event management minor was in the Education and Human Development College. So I just scheduled an appointment with that advisor. It was like, hey, I would like to minor in event management. And they were like, awesome. So we're going to put you down as a minor and we'll grant you access to take those courses. And I was like, thanks. So that's how I got my minor. And that's really how it is, you know, with everything, with declaring a minor, declaring a major, switching your major, switching a minor. It's really, really easy. And everybody does it at least once, probably twice. I know people who did it 3 times. Don't do that to yourself. But if you know that's what you want to do, you know, definitely don't be afraid to jump around. Great question. But yeah, so there's my contact information, some other helpful things before you all say goodbye. Those links are going to be to our main pages. Follow us on social media. We are WMU Fine Arts on pretty much all of them. Daryl has another question. Since I'm going to major in creative writing, are there any writing opportunities, competitions that you know of that I could submit to Western? Gabriella would. I personally do not, but you can also sign up for Gabriella's session. Hers is at the same time on through those virtual sessions. So you can sign up for College of Fine Arts, or you could sign up for College of Arts and Sciences, or you could do like one day and one the next. So yeah, sign up for those sessions. She'll be able to tell you all about that. And then our YouTube pages, another big thing that I wanted to share with you guys. Theater has its own, we have our own, and of course Western has their own as well. So feel free to check those out. Those have everything from the day in the life videos to other fun content, virtual tours, everything in between. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I had so much fun. Hopefully I'll see some of you in my virtual sessions later this week. Please, I'm lonely. But I loved talking with you, and I hope to see you all in the fall. But yeah, go Broncos, and thank you guys so, so much. Bye.